McFarlane Toys took over the DC license in early 2020. Despite the pegs being seemingly clogged, some of these have become pretty expensive in just the last year. People joke a lot about how much Batman is in the line, so you would think that a lot of non-Batman figures would be the most expensive, right? Or is it because there's so many Batman, they're the most expensive? Let's find out. What's going on, everybody? My name's Matt, often called Big Nerdy, sometimes called a doctor of toynomics. We are the NWO, the Nerd World Order, and this is Nerdzoic. Quick reminder, New Jersey Toy Con, Legions Con, just 2 weeks away. Hope to see you there. Toys, action figures, whatever you want to call them, are the best way to unplug from life's chaos and find some escape whenever your mind feels like it's going to explode. Like a form of nerdy therapy, they bring us happiness and inner peace by allowing us to connect to a simpler time when life was, well, easier. For me, a big part of that nostalgia is going back to the days of Toy Fair and thumbing through the pages of the magazine to see the different values. And for whatever reason, I've always been a complete toy economics nerd my entire life. I've always been fascinated by the comings and goings of the market end, and that's a big part of the nostalgia for me. And if you're like that, that's okay. Doesn't mean that hey, you don't just collect for collecting. It just means that you like different parts of collecting, like Big Nerdy here. This was a really interesting top 10 to put together, and doing the market study, I was really interested to see some of the statistics that ended up bearing themselves out. For example, 90% of the entire top 10 is dominated by one big franchise in DC, and it's probably pretty obvious who that franchise is, but the 10%, I guarantee you it's not who you would think it would be. Equally interesting is that 50% of the toys on the top 10 list are Build-A-Figure toys. Not the Build-A-Figures themselves, but they come from a Build-A-Figure wave. And this isn't Marvel Legends, okay? McFarlane toys aren't known for their Build-A-Figures, so I thought it was weird that half of the most valuable are from Build-A-Figure waves. Most interesting of all, though, is that 90% of the figures on the top 10 are based on comic books straight up, so no movies or TV shows. 1 is from the New 52 era, 2 are from the Rebirth era, and 5 are from a single storyline that happened in the last few years. You probably won't guess the one non-comic book figure, but hit pause, go down in the comments, see if you can guess what it is. Before we start the top 10, let's go over some rules because this isn't Vietnam. We have rules. First off, I only went with 2020 releases. I didn't want to put anything 2021 in there to throw off the numbers because a scalper's selling stuff for stupid money on eBay when they find it first at a Target or Walmart. Second, no completed Build-A-Figures. That's a completely different ballgame. We're not even touching that with this one. Third, no exclusives. So all of the Retro 66 stuff, no matter how cool it is, sorry Target, you're not on the list. We're only looking at figures that come from the McFarlane era, so anything from the Mattel days, forget about it. And last but not least, no special label figures were considered when putting together this list. So you won't find any platinum label figures, you won't find any gold label figures, and you certainly won't find any bronze label figures. Batman, take us away. Batman's not here? Oh, Number 10. Coming in at number 10 is the Nightwing vs. Robin 2-pack. It originally went for $40. Currently, you can't pick it up for less than about $56, which is about a 40% increase over its original price. This is based on the New 52 designs of the characters, and despite being released in 2020, it's always been tough to find, and it's always been pretty expensive on the secondary market. It's probably not that surprising because they are 2 of the bigger fan favorite characters in DC, and they're also not like highly produced, so kind of makes sense. Coming in at number 9 is the Batman Who Laughs, which is going for about $29, which is $9 over his original $20 price, which is a 43% increase. He's a pretty cool concept, the design's amazing, and it's a great looking figure. So if you were really into this storyline, the Dark Knight's Metal Batman Who Laughs thing, I only read like 2 issues, you're probably gonna love this figure. He happens to be one of the figures that are part of a bath wave. It was a 3-piece bath wave to create a weird looking mini Batmobile. I don't know what the hell the point of that was, but for whatever reason, this Build-A-Figure wave, along with the other pieces of it, have always been really tough to find. That said, of the 3 figures that made up this Build-A-Figure, this has always been the easiest of the 3 to find. Coming in at number 8 is the Devastator, who is Batman from Earth 1. Originally going for $20, he's now $10 over MSRP at $30 each, which is a 50% increase. Much like the previous entry on the list, he is from the Dark Knight's Metal storyline, and yeah, it's Batman. So he's like, yeah, I gotta beat Superman. The only way to beat Superman, gotta pump myself up, make myself into this Devastator dude. Only chance I got. And it worked and then ended the world from what I understand. Is it just me, or does the face and tongue on this guy remind you of like Goldberg circa 1996? One thing that doesn't make sense to me, why pay $30 for him when you can get the 2-pack of him and Superman for like $10 more, along with a little diorama base. Plus, in stock at the Nerdzoic toy store. Coming in at number 7 is Harley Quinn, the classic version. Going now for about 31 bucks. He was 20 originally, which is an $11 increase, meaning 59%. This is advertised as being a classic version of Harley Quinn, but I'm pretty sure this is just straight up Batman animated series Harley Quinn, or at least it might as well be. Thanks to the Suicide Squad movies, Harley Quinn is the most produced figure by McFarlane outside of Batman himself, but that's about it. And this one is the most sought after. It's part of the first wave of figures that came out and was not super difficult to find when it first came out. I saw her multiple times in stores, but as that wave dried up, people really wanted it and she became expensive. Coming in at number 6 is Batgirl, Art of the Crime, going for $32 now. Originally, she was a $20 figure, so that's a $12 and 60% increase. This is from the Art of Crime story arc. That's part of the DC Rebirth era. And this was number 1 on my best McFarlane DC figures list, and I got a ton of crap for it because people are like, oh, she's not good, but I loved her. And now, an expensive figure. This is part 2 of the aforementioned weird Batmobile Build-A-Figure wave. Always been tough to find. I only saw it in stores once. I was on vacation, went into a Walgreens to grab something. I had about $6 in cash on me. Oh, I was grabbing Gatorade. I didn't have a wallet. Oh, it was painful. There is a new Batgirl figure on the horizon as part of the 3 Jokers wave, so this one might get its price driven down. Coming in at number 5 is the Batman Who Laughs again. Nope, hear me out. This is a different version of the Batman Who Laughs. This time he has Red Bull wings. He was originally $25. You can pick him up now for about $42 on the aftermarket. So we're looking at a $17 increase, which is about 68%. This figure is part of the Merciless Build-A-Figure wave, and it's always been pretty tough to find. Ironically, most McFarlane Build-A-Figure waves are tough to find unless it's part of that Last Night on Earth Bane. Then you can't not find it. It's everywhere. Coming in at number 4 is the Grim Knight, who is, you guessed it, from the Batman Who Laughs / Dark Knight's Metal storyline. Yep, got another one. He originally went for $20. He's currently going for about $36, which is a $16 increase, 80%. So yeah, he's gotten pretty expensive in just the last year. He does look kind of odd for a Batman figure. Got lots of guns. It looks like he's a Batman cross with a G.I. Joe, but he's not. Instead, he's ripped from Batman's greatest nightmares. The Grim Knight is the world's most dangerous vigilante, unafraid to use any weapon and willing to go to any length to stop those whom he deems worthy of death. Trained with the finest arsenal Wayne money can buy, learn the secret origin of the second deadliest Batman, hand-selected by the Batman Who Laughs to bring his dark plans to fruition. So as we continue to add up the Batman Who Laughs comics, I think it's pretty clear to see that when I said 50% of the figures on the list were from that comic line, so Batman Who Laughs, Dark Knight's Metal, you know, that whole general thing, pretty crazy. All right, let's move to number 3, which is our only non-Batman related figure on this entire countdown. Coming in at number 3 is the Green Arrow, more commonly known as just Arrow, from the CW television series. He's going for $47 now. He originally was just $20, so that's a $27 increase, 134%. Those of you keeping track of my math on home. This is, again, based off the TV show, and I actually really love that show, but I fell off after the first season or 2. Much like Harley Quinn, this Arrow figure is from Wave 1, but I do not remember him ever being that difficult to find, but now, forget about it. Ooh, who forget about it? It's a 1 video. Coming in at number 2 is Nightwing, Better Than Batman. Originally, he was a $20 figure. He's now going for about $52. So that's a $32 increase, which is 161%. This is based off the first volume of Nightwing and DC Rebirth. By the way, New 52, the entire Court of Owls storyline. Amazing. Equally amazing, I've never seen this figure in the wild. It is the final part of the Batmobile wave, so if you wanted to put that Batmobile together for some reason, it's gonna be difficult. This is the second time Nightwing has been on this list. He was on the list earlier at number 10 as part of a 2-pack with Jason Todd. However, that Nightwing was in the red suit, this one's in the blue suit. Personally, I prefer the blue suit, and by blue, of course, I mean blue highlights. He's wearing black, come on. It's a vigilante, not a smurf. But that's probably why this one's higher on the list. All right, time to go to number 1. Get your guesses in line. I know everyone likes to guess. I certainly didn't see this coming. Coming in at number 1 is Robin from Earth 22. He was originally a $25 figure. He went up $42 since release. He's currently going for about $67, which is a 166% increase. Popular Bath, Army Builder, expensive. This thing's creepy, I'll tell you. You can take McFarlane out of horror, but you can't take the horror out of McFarlane. Ironically, none of the figures on this top 10 list made it into the best DC Multiverse countdown, which you can see here, and kind of not surprisingly, they didn't make it into the worst DC Multiverse countdown, which you can see here. But either way, remember, you have to get old, but you don't have to grow up. Just be cool and stay nerdy. Later.